And the dumpster's on fire.
Aren't they? What is it? It's like there's some biblical quotes like they meant it for evil, yet we use it for good, something like that. It's like
Yes.
it's like because I searched Twitter for entreprogrammers and I found someone said it's like a dumpster fire, and I was like, I love that. That's awesome. So the dumpster's on fire. There we go.
We have our catchphrase.
We do.
Yeah. We pour gasoline all week, and then we light it up on Friday.
Pretty close.
I'm in Northern California this week.
Northern California. That's like a different country, right?
Yes, basically. Still,
I'm apparently now the only programmer without a beard, so I'm feeling a lot of pressure.
Well, you can't really help it since you're only 12.
That's true.
I mean, you can't grow one yet, so.
Well, Josh just turned 36, which is the age of the awakening of the there's like all these like historical 36 is like the age where men become men. So now there you go. Now you get a beard, right?
There we go.
Is that what happened to me last year?
Yep. That's true. It's funny. I was there's a lot of books I was reading, and it's like, was it like I think Iron John, one of them. He's like around 36 years of age, and there's like 4 or 5 books. I was pointing them out to my wife. I was like, this is really weird. This 36 number keeps showing up in all these like masculine type of contexts. So there you go.
Sweet. Maybe this will be the year.
You've outlived Jesus.
True. Maybe at this point, maybe this year I'll finally put on some muscle. We'll have to see.
There we go.
Now that I've hit puberty.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can't get that glue to stick permanently, so.
But yeah, I'm up here doing a half marathon, the San Jose half marathon on Sunday. So.
Oh, San Jose. My wife is from there. She's technically Cupertino, but part of San Jose.
Nice.
And I'm in Atlanta this week, so.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Ignite.
What a waste of time.
Then Microsoft has not ignited a fire under your butt to join the Microsoft team again?
No. Yeah, we recorded between the 2 shows that I came out here to record. We recorded 4 episodes, and I've been here for a week. So I guess the next event, Microsoft Connect, is going to be super intense. So we'll make up for it all then. But yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like not so much fun. What is Ignite all about, anyways? I've been seeing Twitter talking about it, but I don't really know what it is.
So they have a couple of conferences. They have Build, which is for programmers, and then they've got Ignite, which is for IT professionals and infrastructure professionals.
Okay.
So they have a bunch of people here learning about Azure and Office and Skype for Business and some of their DevOps offerings and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, free trip to Atlanta, but I'm kind of wishing that I had stayed home and gotten some other things done. So I did get a lot done because I didn't go to any sessions, and when I wasn't recording or, cavorting with other people around the podcasting space, I was back here getting caught up on stuff.
Right.
But yeah.
You mean eating barbecue. We know what you're really doing in Atlanta.
I wish I'd stopped for barbecue.
Or some grits.
Yeah.
Shrimp and grits.
Yeah, I had breakfast with a friend of mine. I've had dinner with family twice because I have an aunt and uncle that live out here.
Nice.
So I got to see all my cousins. They have like 7 kids, so it was kind of a big get together on Sunday. But yeah, that's been the week this week. And then I have one person that he's going to be the guest on Ruby Rogues next week, and he's interested in joining the panel, so we'll see how that goes. And then I told him I'd make a final decision. And then I'm talking to somebody else this afternoon about being a panelist. I reached out to a few other people, but I haven't heard back from them yet. I don't know if it's because they're mad at me or because they're busy or what. So, so we'll see how that goes.
Just assume they're busy and it gets lost in their inbox.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figure. But yeah, I've got a handful of other people that I'll reach out to if it doesn't work out with them. I'm not that worried about it.
Cool.
And then I did my sale, and I made $300.
This was your birth. Oh, this was your
Independence Day sale.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
$300 you didn't have, right? So.
Yeah, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know. Maybe I just need to send them one last email today and say, this is your last chance this weekend to get these products, and then actually list off everything they can get.
Yeah.
Because I think that might be part of the issue is that, like, when I sent the email that said, hey, I've got JS Remote Conf and Newbie Remote Conf up, I mean, people went and bought immediately. One person actually bought at full price.
Oh, nice.
And
Don't worry.
I don't think he read to the bottom.
Don't worry, you'll get the email.
Yeah, I don't think he read to the bottom and saw, if you use this coupon code this week, because I'm doing my Independence Day sale.
Nice.
So do you think that might be the issue, is just they don't know what to go there for?
I honestly, I think part of the issue might be that you were discounting too many things. I've had that problem in the past where if I did a discount on everything, like nobody would buy anything. But if I made the discount very specific to something and I talk about all the awesomeness of that thing, then people get really excited about it and throw money at me.
Got it. I've had a few people ask about the events for next year and if I'm going to do a sale on those, and I told them I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But mainly because I just didn't want to commit to anything because I don't know.
Yeah. Plus, you don't want to get those people on
waiting for the sale,
waiting for the discount. Like, I'm not going to buy anything because it's going to have another discount.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to get that schedule up though, and then just set the announcements to come out. Like 1 month it's JS Remote Conf, and the next month, hey, we got the schedule together for Freelance Remote Conf. Or if you want to get them all, then we're going to be doing these during these months, but we don't know the exact dates yet, and just see how that works. But yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff going. I'm running into one issue. I hate talking about. Now I'm scared to talk about people on the show.
It's all right. We all know about Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba. So I hired Bubba a few weeks ago, and she's been doing some work for me. But one of the reasons I hired her is because she said she had a bunch of experience with social media stuff, and I asked her what she had done, and she had explained that she had posted to Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and done a bunch of stuff for her previous boss. So I said, okay, well, why don't you outline for me what you did for your previous boss so that I can decide, how much of that I want and how I want to tweak it. And it turned out that she had posted all those places, but it seems like he had told her, okay, I need this posted on this date, write an article about it. And that was the extent of her experience. So I don't have a social media expert like I thought. And I'm still having trouble with her getting back to me on stuff. And so I texted her this morning and I said, hey, look, I really need this stuff done this afternoon so that I can, I can promote it to my list and let people know that Rails Remote Conf is imminent, but I want all of the speakers to show up, and it's
Bubba's done.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's an instant fireable offense in my empire is if you don't get back to me and you work for me. Like you have to be proactive. Like you should be bugging me. You should be like, dude, I need a response so I can get this done for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to bug them, done.
Yep.
Okay, so
plus there's no such thing as a social media expert.
Yeah, but I thought she at least understood.
Trump.
Okay.
Honestly, like, show me someone who gets better results on social media than Trump.
His Twitter rant this morning hit my feed, and I was like,
but
Oh my gosh.
yeah. Anyway, so anyway, one thing that I'm wondering though is, just to give her the benefit of the doubt for a minute, I only told her I was bringing her on for 10 hours a week. And so, I don't know that I told her I wanted her to check in every day, and she hasn't done that, but I think that's a little bit much maybe for 10 hours a week. So do you think it's...
Yeah, but if you've told her this, right?
Does the arrangement play into this at all, or am I just...
No, I mean, honestly, okay, so here's how you look at it. If you know what you know now, 3 weeks ago, whenever you hired her, would you enthusiastically hire her?
Enthusiastically hire her? No.
Then no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and with the whole thing, like, if it may be unreasonable to have someone who's working 10 hours is a lot though, but let's say that it's unreasonable for someone to have that's working for 10 hours for you to check in every day. If you've said that and Bubba has agreed to it, and Bubba hasn't done what Bubba has agreed to, like, Bubba could push back. Bubba could say, hey, Bubba, don't do this. Bubba, don't play that. I'm not 10 hours a week. I don't know who you think you are, Mr. Shiny Head Man, but not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that, but and to be perfectly honest, if she had been checking in every 2 to 3 days, like every other day, or let's say she was putting in 5 hours on Monday and 5 hours on Friday, and she just she checked in and said, hey, I jumped on for a few hours today, and this is what I got done, I probably wouldn't be worried about it. But the radio silence makes me nervous. Not that she's ripping me off, but just that the stuff isn't getting done, and it's starting to get heavily time sensitive.
This is of no use to you. Like, if you have to think about or wonder if something's getting done, then you might as well do it yourself. Honestly, it's better to do it yourself.
And this is a courting period.
Yeah, that's the other
for
thing.
A date, and they're wearing sweatpants, and you're like, really? Sweatpants? I wonder how the rest of this relationship is going to go at it.
Right.
Starting off in sweatpants.
So I guess the other question is, because I've kind of been thinking along the same lines, and so I need to figure out how to find somebody that will do what I need them to do. And
what did you hire Bubba to do?
Specifically, it was to manage the social media and to send these emails and do the kind of work that I've got her doing. Because I've got her reaching out to people for the conferences. And I told her, I said, for the first few weeks, you're going to be working on the conferences, and then we're going to start figuring out our social media stuff.
What is managing social media look like?
In your mind?
In your mind.
Basically, it's taking all the material I pull together and putting it into Edgar. Okay. And then, for the time-sensitive stuff like the conferences or events or sales or anything like that, just making sure that goes in when it's supposed to go in and comes out when it's over.
There's your job description.
Yeah, and here's what you do. So go onto Upwork and post I have, say something like, I have 25 blog posts or podcasts or whatever that I want to promote on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I want you to put together a little promotion schedule and write the content to promote these and give it to me in a spreadsheet. And then you'll get you hire 5 people to do that for $75, and you'll get, you can compare because like you need somebody who's at least a half decent writer, right? To take, so like writing's going to be one of the skills. Basically what you're looking for is writing and the ability to follow instructions and some sense for, how to make stuff sound interesting. And then just their overall, you want them to be like an organized person and provide you with the spreadsheet in a way that's like, where you can digest what they've given you and where and that they're communicating to you during the process. And ideally what you want to see is if there's somebody who goes, hey, I did 5 of these. Could you take a look at them? I did 5 across all 3 channels. I want to see what you think about it before I proceed. that's the person, like probably 2 or 3 of the people will do that. And those are the ones that everyone else like disqualifies themselves, and those are the ones you'll probably want to look at.
Yep.
I can do that. And yeah, I like having the larger pool on Upwork. Okay, so my other question is, what do I tell her? Because so far where we're at is, I said, look, 2-week trial. We're 3 weeks into the 2-week trial at this point.
Well, if that's the case, you're done already. Like, just tell her, look, this hasn't worked out the way that I need it.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time. Bye. And that's it.
Yeah,
Don't offer any other feedback.
Exactly.
Just, it hasn't worked out. Thanks for your time. Bye.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking was, I was just going to go into, this turned out not to be what I needed.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep fiddling with it, but
But let's just friend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sorry it didn't work out. Yeah, here's your money.
Right.
Yep. Nice and clean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because the other thing is I'm not convinced it's her fault. There were some things that I know.
It really doesn't matter whose fault it is. The situation didn't work out. I mean, this could be entirely on you because you did something wrong, and it doesn't matter.
Here's the thing.
Situation didn't work out, and you need to find somebody else where the situation will work out.
Here's the thing. Like, you're not perfect. Nobody is going to be perfect as a boss. Right. You need to find somebody who can work with your imperfections and figure out how to get the job done.
Right.
And just have a standard level. Like, I mean, my standard level now is I'm not hiring anyone who's not at Rodrigo level.
Right.
That's it. That's the bar. I know what the bar is. I know what there's some dude in Brazil that's capable of doing this. That means this is a big world. There's more than one. So you know what I'm saying? So that's my new standard, because now I know it's possible, and I'm not going to accept, anything less. And that's, you got to kind of figure out where that standard is and just say, it has to be impressive to you. It has to be, like Josh said, if you have to be excited, like I would hire this person now enthusiastically.
Yeah. And the way that you can save yourself these conversations over and over and over again is what I described about the limited duration project. It's not just like we'll work together for a couple weeks and see if it works out, but it's like, and that's what a lot of tech companies do. It seems like they like hire you for like a week audition or something, and that's better than nothing. But I still think like the limited duration project is great because that way there's not like this implicit, if I'm on my best behavior, maybe they'll hire me. It's kind of like, no, I'm hiring you to do this one specific thing, and as far as they know, this is all there is.
Right.
And so they're going to behave the way that they're going to behave.
Yeah. The other thing I see with that, though, is that so when I went into this, I was kind of looking for a new assistant, but I like the idea of hiring for roles and then just expanding, take on this role too, if you're the kind of person that I think can do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
So then if I have somebody that works out great, after 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, and I say, hey, I've got this other role that I want you to try out, then I can just, then again, it's not this, be on your best behavior for a couple weeks, but it's, hey, let's try out this role and see if it fits. And if it doesn't, then we'll try out a different role and see if that fits. And if we run out of roles, and just keep doing what you're doing, because that's working.
Right. Yeah. And the important thing is, like, if you hire the right character qualities, then, they can learn Drip, they can learn Edgar, they can learn WordPress.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's ultimately what I want, is I want somebody who can figure all that stuff out. And then I can say, hey, do this, and then I can drop a markdown file on them, and they can go put it on the blog and go put it into Drip.
Yeah.
Okay. So one last thing, and that is that she has been coordinating with speakers for Rails Remote Conf and has started to reach out. I haven't heard, but she said she was going to start reaching out to React Remote Conf speakers. So it feels like a little bit of a bait and switch on there. Should I just jump in and not even tell them that I let her go, but just kind of say, hey, I'm just jumping in to expedite some of this and just get it done?
Yep.
Yep.
And that way it doesn't feel weird that, oh, well, Bubba was handling this, and now Chuck's in the middle of it again.
Right. In the future, with those situations, when you have somebody else, early on in your working relationship, that person should be CCing you on every email they send.
Yep.
Oh, that's true. I should have done that
That's
because I could have archived those, no problem. Just
and then you could just reply to the conversation and pick it up where it left off.
Yeah. In fact, you want to check all their work. Like when I've had now 3 people manage my Simple Programmer email, and I've made mistakes. But on the last one, I figured out when I had started having Rodrigo do this. Rodrigo. I just realized I'm saying his name, but he's cool.
Yeah, we've already that ship has sailed. Same with Aaron.
Long time
ago. So anyway, what I did when he first started taking on that task, which by the way, it was the same thing. He was a video editor, right? And he did that task really good. And then I expanded his capabilities, asked him if he was interested. And what I did was I said, okay, when you answer my emails, leave them in the inbox, okay, for now, and I'll go over all of them. And I went over them every week, and then I replied back to him, like forward him once, like, oh, you should answer this one this way, or this and that. And we did this for like about 2 weeks, and then I said, okay, no longer leave them in the inbox, just archive them when you're done.
Right, because you were comfortable with the work being done, you didn't have to check it anymore.
Exactly, but always start off by checking it. I think I made the mistake when I was before of not doing that, and it didn't turn out well because I was getting all these emails. I'm like, what the hell did you send?
Yeah. Yeah, I've kind of been going through that a little bit with my guy in the Philippines, and it's taken a few cycles to get stuff right on some of this stuff, but like I could hand him another conference now and it would be done in an hour.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of getting to that point, and it's kind of nice. And the only reason I hesitate is because he has made some grammatical mistakes in sending emails to me. So I don't know if I want him emailing other people. I guess I could give him a template or a script to follow, but
yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's kind of a tough one. Like, I'm kind of in the same boat with Rodrigo because he's not a native English speaker. So he sometimes, even when he comments on YouTube and stuff, it's pretty clear that, it's not necessarily me. But he does well enough that it's like, at some point in the future, I'll want someone who is a native English speaker taking over that stuff. So you kind of have to weigh it. Like, it's like, how important is that going to be? If it's not horrible, if it's pretty decent, then it doesn't, then it probably is worth it rather than trying to get someone specifically hired for that very, very limited role. But
I am the worst when it comes to grammar and spelling and punctuation ever. So those kinds of concerns, that's like not even on my radar. If the person can communicate clearly and get the intent across, I don't care if there's a 1 or 2 grammar problems. I constantly have grammar problems in the things I write.
I am picky. I will admit it. I am picky about grammar and spelling. But that's me, and that's my business. And that's
right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some of this figured out. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna because I texted her this morning, and then I realized that it was 6 a.m. in Utah when I texted her. It was 8 a.m. here. So, I didn't feel early, but there it was. Yeah, anyway. But she just texted me back and say, I got it. I'm working on it. So I think I'm going to let her work today. And then on Monday, we'll see where things are at. And I'll probably just say, look, yeah, this really isn't working out, and we'll figure it out from there. And then, I like the idea of just, handing off, to Upwork and seeing what people come up with.
Yep.
And keep in mind that whoever you bring on, there's going to be that period of training and feedback and everything. Like John was saying with leaving the emails in the inbox so that he could review them. There's always going to be that level of review when you get things started. It's the lack of communication that is the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're looking for, like I think we talked about last week, the non-trainable. The skills that I said that their mommy should have taught them. Because those ones you can't do. You can't. It's not going to happen. You're not going to teach someone work ethic. You're not going to teach someone communication skills. Not without a huge amount of investment
Right.
You know, if they don't have those things to begin with, if you take someone that's got good work ethic, good communication skills, and is a quick learner, they're gonna succeed whatever they're doing, right? I mean, it doesn't even matter unless it's, you know, a skill that requires 10 years of experience, you know, whatever skill that is, but they're gonna succeed.
This isn't rocket surgery.
Yeah. But if you take someone that's highly skilled and they lack one of those, you're going to have problems, guaranteed. So, and they're not going to develop those skills if they have made it this far in life and they don't have them. You know, that's you know.
And not every role requires communication skills,
right?
Or requires the strong, you know, whatever it is. There's going to be different situations, but when you're
but they still have to communicate with me.
Yeah,
so that's a problem.
Right. Communication skills and communication ability and willingness, I think, are different things. You know, that goes along with the work ethic. The work ethic is part of your work is to tell the boss what you're doing. That's part of your work ethic. The communication skills are the
attitude about communication.
Right.
Versus like just raw writing ability is
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just informing. It's updating. It's you
know, when you're a small team, though, all of that is important. You need somebody that has work ethic and communication skills, because you don't have time to manage people that don't.
Yeah. They basically have to be self-managed. It's funny. I'm just writing a chapter in my book on dealing with your boss, and I'm talking about, you know, I start off by talking about like this idea of like, what do you think your boss gets evaluated on or judges on, and you know, taking for that perspective, because so few people understand. It's like, communicate, give weekly reports, status updates. Like, this is what your boss's primary responsibility is going to be, to get that information. And so when you volunteer that information, they have to be self-motivated. They have to be anticipating the needs. And that's the critical skill, because if you don't have that, you're going to have to manage them. They have to be self-managing.
Well, and that's ultimately what I need from my folks is, it's like, look, I don't want to have to babysit you. I don't want to have to worry about what you're doing. I just want to feel good that what I've asked you to do is getting done.
Yep.
And, you know, and then I don't want to have to worry about it otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with it's really the same with any kind of automation. I mean, in a sense, this is automating, right? And it's like the home automation stuff we've talked about. It's like, if you have to think about it or worry about it at all, not working.
Yeah, exactly. So by the way, John, you mentioned your book, and you went on .NET Rocks and talked about it, I think.
Yes.
And I was having dinner the other night with Richard and Carl.
Oh, okay.
Because they're here, and they're part of the whole podcast arrangement that we're doing here. And Richard said, no, it wasn't Richard. It was Carl. He was looking at the numbers, and he said that your episode was the most downloaded episode last month.
Oh, wow.
So
that's awesome.
So way to go there. And then it sounds like I just need to email Richard and get on their schedule, but it sounds like I'll probably wind up being on .NET Rocks next month to talk about my book. So
nice. Awesome. Cool.
So other than that, the only other thing I'm working on is I'm trying to get all the slides together for the rest of my webinars, because I figured out that the slides make really, really excellent outlines for my chapters.
Yep.
And so I'm like, okay, so this gives me one more place where I can think through it in a structured way, and then I think I'm just going to sit down and just crank it out for a week or so. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
Anyway, I didn't mean to go right into talking about me, but I'm kind of thinking about this stuff.
Hey, we're firing more people.
Yeah.
Gosh, if we were like, can you imagine if we were like the panel at the Coliseum or something? You know, does he live or die? Thumbs down. Every time.
We've just created a huge amount of value for people that listen to this podcast, because if you listen to the last like 3 or 4 episodes, you know
Yeah.
how you should approach a job interview, right? I mean, you should like this is like I wish I would have known this when I was starting off, in the field, because like it should be very clear and obvious what is going to make you how you can sell yourself to a possible employer, especially an entrepreneurial employer, in a way that says that you're hired, right? I mean, it should be very clear at this point, I think. And so that's I think it's interesting.
The other part of that too is for the entrepreneurs, right? Because I mean, Derek's had to let people go.
Yeah, I fired everybody. I literally have no one working for me anymore, including the screencast editor that I used for 5 years.
Right, but the point is that we all struggled with these decisions, right? Where it's like, hey, these are real people. We're trying to make decisions. I've messed up handling some of this stuff, and so it's like, okay, well. Here's the right way to do it, so that essentially, you're treating these people with dignity, and at the same time making the decision you have to make in your business.
Yep.
And I mean, I think it comes down to two, right? Because these are, some people say, business and personal, whatever. I agree, they're all the same, but it does come down to a business decision, right? Like ultimately for the business. And what makes it really clear too is like just looking at it from the other perspective. If you're someone who is being hired by someone, all you got to do is make sure that you are producing a valuable enough asset or work that you're making them money, that they can't afford to fire you, right? I mean, like that's the clear, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, right? It's like, it doesn't matter if I hired you for X, if you start doing Y and it's profitable to me and it's valuable to me, you're hired, like you're staying on, I mean? It's like, you're never ever, I mean, it comes down to this, right? You're never ever going to fire someone who's making you more money than they cost you.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense. And that's what it, like, I think, from the entrepreneur's perspective, it makes sense to us. But I think from the employee perspective, a lot of employees don't ever think about this idea that is all you have to do if you want job security is generate more money than it costs. And that if you're a value add, it's like it's a no-brainer decision. And
the other thing about that is that like if you're serious about getting ahead in your career, then it might be worth considering moving yourself from things that are considered a cost center to things that are considered, a profit center. Because, like I just remember when I was working, it was always like everybody was always really worried about like, how do I justify my existence basically and my salary? Right. And I always looked to move myself to things where that wasn't even a concern.
Right.
Like it should be so obvious to everyone why you're valuable that when the office space consultants come in, they don't even call you into the office.
Right.
Yeah. When I got my first job out of college, my first full-time job, I worked for a manufacturing company, and we eventually got consolidated into the IT department of the large parent corporation. And when that happened, I went around to all of the marketing managers for all like 4 brands that the parent company owned. And I basically said, okay, starting on this date, you no longer have access to your own website. You don't get to touch anything. You don't get to do anything. You don't get to update anything. You send it all to me, and the web development team that I have will take care of it for you. And everybody screamed and yelled and hollered at first. People were like, oh, how can you possibly take away my responsibility, my rights to update my marketing material? And people screamed and yelled, but we had support from upper management in the company. And so they basically had to do it because upper management was saying, no, you're going to do it this way. A month later, we had the entire organization coming to us and asking us to do more work for them. Like, well, hey, we've been doing this. Can you take over this? Hey, we were thinking about doing that. Could you do that for us? Hey, we've got this project we'd like you to work on for us. because people saw the IT department no longer as a cost center where you are required to suffer through the IT people, but we changed it. We really truly changed the IT organization into a profit center because we allowed the brands to make more money by getting rid of those day-to-day IT related responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that was for me, it was like the first time in my career I saw a massive shift like that. It wasn't the last time for sure, but it was the first time I really saw that kind of shift from a cost center to cost savings and profit center eventually.
Yep.
I was just listening to a podcast, Tim Ferriss podcast. It's actually gotten really good, by the way. Derek, you may want to revisit Tim Ferriss.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid, man. That's it.
I'll tell you. I had some problems with Tim Ferriss early on because I felt like his books had some value in them, but they were very coming from a very inauthentic place. And whenever I first heard him on podcasts and stuff, I felt that inauthenticity. But I think he's connected with himself and really has found like his true voice and has really come out and really is genuine at this point. So I think he's changed. I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people and they've said the same thing. So I'm very much he's providing a lot of value now. I believe that's really authentic. But aside from that, so I'd encourage you to revisit and just see, but especially his podcast, the latest.
Derek's going to go to his website, see that same photo, and he'll be done. He's like, I'm done revisiting. I can't take it.
I'm gone.
I can't take it.
He's an interesting character because he's definitely gone through a progression. But I was listening to the last episode. I think there's this guy that wrote this book called Extreme Ownership. What's his name? I want to get it. Jocko Willink, or anyway, he's this Navy SEAL guy that has this very, very big on discipline and stuff, telling people to work hard and good interview. But one of the things, someone asked him a question. They're like, as an armed services person, how can I best get promotions or manage my career? And it was funny because his answer I thought was really good, which was he said don't play around and try and figure out which role you should do or which is going to be more advantageous. He's like, just whatever job you have right now, just do it the best you possibly can. Just be so good, just do the job as best as you can. And if you do that, people are going to want you to do this job over here, or to be in this role, or to take you up to the next level because of how good you're doing that job. They're going to assume you're going to carry over that same. And I think that's really kind of the core. If you're mopping the floor, mop that floor as good as you can mop that floor. That's a ticket to the upper level. Is because
I've got a story about this. So my first job out of high school was Radio Shack. So I applied. I wandered in there one day, and the district manager happened to wait on me, and he's like, "Hey, you should apply." So I apply, get hired, and I show up, and I think it's my first day or second day, and my two coworkers were the one guy was this kind of I don't know, short, geeky guy who was he thought he was really intelligent, and then there was this the assistant manager was this chain smoking, kind of Mother Hen type. She was in her 50s. And so you can imagine I was 18, right? So I look like I'm, I don't know, a teenager now. And I must have looked like I was 8 when I showed up for that job. So they're really skeptical, and the manager was all excited about me, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to make you into a rock star," which never really happened. But so he's all excited, and they're very, very skeptical. So the manager leaves for the day, and it's just me and them, and they're I see them kind of look at each other, and they're like, "Well, you know what? It's time to clean the bathroom." And they both look at me. They're like, "Guess what, new guy? You're up. You know, so I go back and like clearly they had not cleaned this toilet in in at least 3 to 6 months, I would guess. So yeah, basically they sent me back there and they're like, all right, Josh, you know, go. And I was like, okay, all right, well, this is disgusting and revolting, but I am going to make this the cleanest toilet in history. And so I probably spent half an hour cleaning this freaking toilet. And after I was done, I walked out and told them, you know, it's all clean. They both, I saw them both walk back there and walk in and look at each other and like kind of nod. And that was it. Like I had their respect from that point forward. Yeah. Like they never hassled me.
A similar situation at a gas station that I worked at.
Oh gosh.
You know how bad gas stations.
This was a private bathroom.
Yeah, so. No, this was the publicly available bathroom at the gas station. The gas station that also had an A&W burger restaurant inside of it. So we got gas station clientele as well as fast food burger clientele using these bathrooms.
I
would work, 6 to 8 hour shifts on a pretty regular basis, and that's the only bathroom that I have access to.
Oh.
And so the very first day that I'm working there, I'm told go clean the bathrooms, and I get in there in the kind of situation that you can imagine, and my attitude is very similar to what you described, Josh. I'm going to make this the cleanest damn toilet in the world. But I had a very selfish motivation for that because I had to use that bathroom. Like, okay, I'm stuck here for 6 hours. I'm going to have to use this bathroom. I am not going anywhere near a dirty, disgusting fast food gas station bathroom. So every single time that I worked there, I made sure that I was the person cleaning the bathroom. I made sure it was clean enough for me to use. Because I cannot stand dirty bathrooms in even the slightest. And it worked out really well for me. It played out across the rest of my time at that job as well. There were multiple times when I'd show up for work one day after closing the previous night, and the manager would be like, hey, Derek, whoever said this morning that the store was cleaner than they've ever seen it in the mornings. Thank you for doing that. Here's some extra whatever from the stock in the back. You need a case of Mountain Dew. You need, I'll buy your lunch today. Just random things like that on a pretty regular basis. And it turned into, building a really strong relationship with everybody that worked at the gas station. People knew that if they needed help, they could ask me and I would get it done. I would do it right. I would probably do it better than most other people. And it was generally a great place to work, even though it was just working at a gas station, because I had the respect of everybody that worked there. Yeah. And that kind of attitude will play out across any job that you have, whether it's working for an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, doing whatever it is that you're doing. I mean, if you got to go clean the toilets, clean the damn toilet as if you were going to sit there. Because, you're going to impress the crap out of everybody else, pun intended.
Literally.
Yeah,
I feel an email coming on for my email list.
There you go.
I have a similar story here too, because it's. Yeah. But for me, it was when I was in high school. I worked at Kmart, and the cashiers were kind of set up as go help the other departments when they needed. Mm-hmm. And so because being a cashier was just you had to remember to say thank you for shopping at Kmart. And, you had to be able to do math. And, you had to be able to put the right amount in and pull the right amount back out for change, kind of thing. But some of the other things that we had to do was, like, go run the paint mixer if people wanted to paint and hardware, or cut keys back in hardware, or, go put back returns, or go put back abandoned carts and stuff like that. But the chore that nobody wanted was facing toys. And I don't know if you know what facing shelves is, but essentially what it is you straighten up the shelf and you pull all of the inventory to the front. The problem is that in toys, the kids try out the toys.
Yep.
And they leave them all over the place. And so facing the toys is like a jigsaw puzzle trying to figure out where everything goes.
Yeah.
And the toys manager came in like 3 different days after I had gone and faced toys. Because if there was nothing to do, I'd just be like, hey, I'm going to be back, straightening whichever department, and I'd hit toys like every other week. And anyway, she would come in the morning, and it would all be straight and clean and nice, and you know, and then again when I'd have to step in for some of the other departments. Anyway, the HR manager hated me at Kmart, and so she wouldn't approve any transfers, but she had every department in the store except for women's clothing begging for me to come work for them. And you know, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, hey, look, you know, I stepped up, I did some stuff I didn't need to do because I just had to bide my time until my shift was over. But because I was going out and doing that kind of work, you know, it was like, hey, look, you know, it would have been a raise, I would have gotten better hours, and you know, it's kind of nice to be in demand because people appreciate the work you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's not what you do, it's how you do it that matters. It's always the case, right? You know, that was one thing I talked about on that .NET Rocks episode, is it's like, you can be really unhappy with your job, but if you do a good job, like there's nothing more rewarding than the job well done, even if it is cleaning a toilet. Like that's the thing I think that people realize, is that doing a good job is the reward in itself. And I know it sounds very cliche, but not only will that be your path to advancement, but that's really where the satisfaction comes from. It's not, you know, it's not the job itself. Cool.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes. So I did a less than stellar job with some of my work on Watch Me Code this week. So on Wednesday, I emailed you guys about this, and on Wednesday, I decided to enact the pricing testing that you guys suggested last time. And I decided to drop the price down to $197 for the annual and $19 for the monthly. The feature set stayed the same. It's just the price is different. But in order to do this, I needed to have an easier way of changing the prices, because the last time I had a major overhaul from monthly to only annuals at $350. It took like 2 weeks of work to change everything on the site, because I had references to the prices all over the site, and it was a crap ton of work to clean up all the marketing and the website and everything else that you can imagine. And then when I re-enabled the monthly subscription a month or two ago, whenever that was, you know, there was another couple of days of work to add the second column to the pricing page and to make sure everything was set up correctly with the permissions and the access levels and all that. And so on Wednesday, I'm like, you know, this is ridiculous. It shouldn't take this much work. I'm just going to write a little bit of code and make it easier for me to just go into my configuration and say, this is the monthly price, this is the annual price. Just select from the list of subscriptions. And that way I can literally just go change 2 select boxes, hit save, and I'm done. And so I got that done, got it all in place, hit save, published the new prices, and I, you know, expectedly didn't get any new subscribers yet. I kind of don't really expect it's going to work for a few weeks, especially having just come off of that big sale that I did on September 20th and all that. But this morning, I got an error notification from the error reporting service I use saying Stripe checkout not found, which I knew was a JavaScript error, and I knew it meant that somebody was on the sign-up page trying to actually click the checkout button to actually subscribe to the service. And so I'm like, oh, crap. Let me go fix that. Let me go see what's wrong, see if it's even a problem, because every now and then you just get random JavaScript errors, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I went and checked, and it turns out that the code that I had written on Wednesday broke the checkout mechanism completely.
Oh.
And so it because of that, you know, I potentially lost out on 1 or 2 subscribers, however many people would have signed up between now and then, which, you know, 2 days, not a huge amount of potential loss, but 1 or 2. But the end result turned out to be there's a bug in the short code that I'm using to add the registration form to the screen. So what I had to do, what I'm doing is I have a short code in WordPress that loads the configuration from the site to tell me which checkout form, which registration form it should use, which pricing it should use. and then it uses the WordPress do shortcode to apply another shortcode inside of the shortcode.
Nice.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? And so
It shortcodes all the way down.
the application of the shortcode that I needed to call for Restrict Content Pro, it won't register and load the Stripe checkout or any of the payment processing JavaScript for some reason. It works fine when I use their shortcode directly in my page, but when I call it from my shortcode function, it doesn't work. So I submitted a bug with them. Hopefully they'll figure it out. Either tell me what I'm doing wrong or fix it. I don't really care either way. But for now, I had to go back into the sign up pages and manually put the shortcode for the specific monthly and annual options in there, which kind of broke the whole point of writing that code on Wednesday, because now I have to do this manual work again. But at least it's fixed and it's working. But then not half an hour after I made that change this morning, I actually did get somebody to sign up, and they on the yearly plan.
Sweet.
So this is somebody that had previously contacted me, though. They were wanting to get their company to pay for the subscription, and they needed me to supply an invoice that had their VAT number and company name on it. And so this is a person that was probably going to pay $350, but they got in for $197 because I made the price change on Wednesday. So I probably screwed myself out of $150 with that. But
at least you spent a lot of time doing it.
At least I spent a lot of time doing it for nothing.
This is the core competency issue.
Yes.
This is not your core competency. Well, it is, but it isn't. It isn't for your business.
It's become my core competency. I am a freaking WordPress developer now.
Well, yeah.
Like full-fledged. I've got this massive WordPress plugin that has all kinds of integration with Restrict Content Pro and Easy Digital Downloads and Advanced Custom Fields Pro, and it's got custom post types. It's got a full administration menu.
You better sell that thing then.
Seriously,
it's not making you any money.
It's running my business right now, but this thing is. I mean, I'm seriously considering charging $500 plus consulting and service fees for me to install this thing into other people's websites, because it is so dang good at what it does at providing the access to the content and making it super simple to manage this stuff. It's like, I don't want to have to do this crap manually, so I'm going to make it as easy as possible for me. And oh, by the way, you throw some money at me and I will show you how to build the fastest, easiest way to sell screencasts and screencast bundles and ebooks through your WordPress site.
Doesn't Restrict Content Pro have like a marketplace, or is that?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
I think it out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I actually, before you even started mentioning consulting, I was like, dude, you could charge. This is one of those things where you could probably charge, $5,000 for a few hours of work.
Yeah.
And you could basically help people set up their business. You were talking about doing this earlier with teaching with selling the Watch Me Code back end, but now you've got a way to do it that doesn't involve like creating a software as a service business.
Yep.
Well, it would
worth
involve,
putting on the radar.
It would involve both. There's the Watch Me Code media service, so you can get tracking and analytics and everything. Which I also there's a few things I need to add in there for myself, but there's only a few features that are really missing from this whole setup to where, I mean, I really could be selling this thing for a few grand, which would, like you said, would include time for me to go in and help people configure it and customize it and do everything else. I mean, honestly, my PHP code is mostly garbage, but it works.
I think that's probably true. 80 to 90% of the PHP code.
Very true of most WordPress plugins. But I'm also getting better at this. I'm starting to do more object-oriented PHP, and I'm getting better at namespacing code, and I'm constantly improving my PHP, and it's not completely embarrassing anymore, even though there are some rather embarrassing parts in it. This
could help you if you wanted to get out of the 20 hours a week, the contracting style consulting. This might be might be a way that you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about, it doesn't have to be like a distraction from what you're doing now, but think about how the end product will look like, what your offer will be, what you'll create. And as you're building this, for yourself, you have a direction to bend it towards. Mm-hmm. And then when you're ready, I mean, having that marketplace, so you don't have to go through the whole advertising like that. I mean, if you can build something that you can sell for a few $100s or $1,000 or something like that, and you can get like a few of those sold per month, if that marketplace is big enough without very much effort, then that's a good springboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other thing is that you can offer the first handful, just say, look, I'm trying this out, to see how it works in other people's businesses. So the first 10 people get it for a steep discount.
Right.
And that way I can make sure that it's, widely applicable. And then you just go out there and say, look, I've got these 10 use cases now where people are making a crap ton of money on this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I think that initially I was going to rag on you saying you shouldn't be doing this, but which I still will hold to unless you actually end up selling this, because of all the pain you're going through and stuff. It's like, that's why I mean, but I fight this battle all the time with people in Simple Programmer, especially with my blogging course. They're like, well, I'm going to build my blog. And I'm like, no, use WordPress. Like, well, I'm a programmer.
Yeah.
So am I.
Well, and this whole thing started with me taking that exact attitude. It's like, screw that. I am not going to spend my time I know exactly how much time and effort it takes to build this kind of service because I've done it before. That's what SignalLeaf was. So I knew how much time and effort it would take. And that's why I got WordPress and I got Restrict Content Pro. Right. And I had the site up and running, serving subscriptions and media literally in 4 hours. It went from nothing to a full subscription service in 4 hours when I first launched this thing. And it's been over the last 2 years that I've started slowly but surely digging in and customizing the theme and, I'd like to organize the screencasts better and I want to put them into a series listing and hey, now I can do this and now I can do that. And so it hasn't been a sit down and do a crap ton of work all at once. It's just been I need this, I need that, I need this. And just over time, collecting all of these features, learning how to do this stuff inside of WordPress and then learning how to organize it so that it's not a giant pile of poo.
Well, speaking of giant piles of poo and shopping carts, oh my gosh! So, I am just fit to be tied. So I did my birthday sale this week, and I'm selling. So I
saw that email.
Yeah, so that was a fun email to write. So basically, I just said I look like I'm 13. Everybody tells me I look like I'm 13.
Which was my comment from earlier.
Yeah, this is my birthday. Have a discount. Like that was pretty much the email.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah, well, I meant my wife actually thought that I was like one of those genius homeschoolers that like, they win the national spelling bee when they're like 7, and then they graduate and they go to MIT when they're like 11. That's kind of what my wife thought I was, but no, I was normal age. I just looked like I was 14. So I sent this email out, and I'm back on the thing now where I'm only checking my email twice a day. So I didn't really know. The email went out at 7 p.m. like the second email for the sale, and I log in the next morning. I finally get my email, and I'm like, DPD says, you have one sale. I'm like, what? I just sent this to like 2,300 people and I have one sale. Like, wow, this is cold. I've faced rejection before. This is cold. But then I keep scanning down through my pile of emails, and I'm seeing, hey Josh, there's no checkout button. There's no buy now button.
Oh, no.
Josh, where's the buy now button? The code must have, Josh. The code must have. I guess all the codes got used up because there's no buy button on. I had half a dozen of these things in my inbox, and so I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So so basically I had sent out, we had this problem before, John. I sent out a pretty link that redirected to the DPD shopping cart, because I didn't even have a sales page up for this product. This is my webinar recording. Didn't even have a sales page. So I was sending people straight to the shopping cart. For some freaking reason, when you do that from Drip, there's some stupid bug in DPD where the checkout button never appears. We had this with the blogging course.
This problem, yes.
Yeah, with the blogging course. So I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So I wonder how many sales I lost. So I go into Drip, and I'm like, I looked at the 2 emails that I sent out, and there were like 120 people that clicked the link that, I had made one sale. So probably, I don't know how many sales I ended up losing. So then I sent out another email with a table flip. So basically everyone that clicked the link, I segmented. So I only sent it to people that click the link and maybe tried to check out.
Right.
And so I sent out I sent out an email that basically said, I hate shopping cart software. A bunch of people said that the link didn't work. So here it is again. Well, send that out. Then I get a bunch of people replying and saying, hey Josh, that link isn't working either. I'm like, oh, you have got to be kidding me. So I ended up selling, I'm not sure what I'm at now, but I did end up selling probably something like 10 to 15 so far on that discount. But yeah, oh my gosh, like and this is coming on the heels of Zaxa giving me heartburn for the last 2 weeks, and the Zaxa can't get their act together when it comes to discount codes. Like we keep getting people that email us that say, "Oh, I applied the discount code, but it didn't work. Like I still got charged $300 instead of $199. Like what's going on?" So I freaking hate it. And I've looked at all the major players at this point, and none of them have all the features we need. And Zaxa is the closest thing, and Zaxa sucks. DPD is the latest thing is I cannot get the cross-domain tracking working with Google Analytics in Zaxa. Oh, yeah. So I can't. So all of my sales are coming through as direct none in Google Analytics. Like I can't see where anything's coming from. So I'm just pretty. Yeah, I don't know. I hate shopping carts. You guys all suck. All of you.
DPD would almost be like perfect if they would just get the internet marketer features in there. If they would just do the one-time offers right and whatnot.
And improve the reporting a little bit.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, that
it's not,
I could deal with, but
yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, it's like their DPD seems like a legacy product that they're just sitting on, and they get. I mean, like they do blog posts when they have a bug fix release. I mean, they are like. And they, like you look at their blog, and it's like every 3 months they're like, "Yay, we fixed this little tiny thing." So it's pretty much a dead product, it seems.
Derek, you could build,
I could. I could also punch myself in the nuts for the next hour.
It's real simple. I mean, you've already got the code. I just want to be able to take payments through Stripe and PayPal. And Bitcoin, throw some Bitcoin in there. That'd be cool.
Stripe checkout, you can do Bitcoin.
Okay, so give me Stripe and PayPal. Right. Give me the ability to have one-time offer and upsells and downsells as many as I want, and what else? And just some basic reporting, and to refund and do partial refunds if I need to. And there you go.
Partial refund.
Yeah, with PayPal. Fun!
Yeah, but
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Like this week one of the things I got working was I went into, so Zaxa has the system that allows you to embed the discount code directly into the URL, which is super cool. So you don't have to have the coupon code field on the page and have everyone Googling around for that. So I went ahead and I ended up writing a bunch of code this week, just to get the. So basically, we should now, if you click one of the links in the emails, I show you a banner on the sales page that says your 33% discount has been applied, and then the links get updated automatically on the page to include the discount code. And the nice thing is, I even edit the URL after you. So when you click it, you click from Drip, the coupon code's in the URL. And then I actually take it out so they don't even ever see the coupon code. So it would be hard to share. It would be hard to share or, pass around. So, but we're getting people saying, "Hey, the discount code didn't get applied. What's up?" So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. It might be too fancy. You might have to just take out the part that takes the coupon code out of the URL, because that might be where we're falling off, or because
possibly, yeah,
that might not matter, because people could share code.
Yeah, I can simplify it and see if it.
If we could basically get to the point where they don't need the code in order to, where it doesn't say coupon on the shopping.
Well, and here's the other thing. Are you really so worried that people are going to tell their friends to give you money?
Not really. Well, the part that not, it's not that. It's actually that's the fact that people will stop when they see that discount code and then go looking for it and not find it.
I'm not talking about the coupon input on the form. Yeah, you don't want that. That's for sure. I'm talking about sharing the URL.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not that concerned about that. But I don't think that's what's. Yeah. I honestly don't think that's what's breaking it. So right. I'll need to test it.
I've gone back and forth on showing versus hiding the discount code in my form a number of times. And I don't want it there on the checkout form. But with Restrict Content Pro, I don't have a choice right now. They don't yet support coupon code in the URL. Easy Digital Downloads does, so I can provide a URL with the discount applied right away, which is nice.
Yeah, DPD does not. The DPD is like basically it's on or off.
Yeah.
So.
But we'll get through it. We'll figure it out. We're kicking ass on sales. It's just insane the amount. I think it's because you dropped a bunch of people into the Plinko machine.
Yeah,
but I also think the payment plans are working too, because we've been doing like over $1,000 revenue per day on, and when I say revenue per day, I mean straight revenue, which most of these are payment plans, so they're going to be giving residual revenue for 2 more months in addition.
Yep.
So
the payment plan
we're looking good.
The payment plan seems like it's really helped. Like I looked at the numbers and it was something like 55% of people or 60% were opting for the multiple payments. So I'm pretty sure we'll have to look at what our numbers end up being, but I'm pretty confident that is really it's getting us new sales that we wouldn't have gotten with the straight up one time only. A lot of people still are doing the one time payments, but so it's kind of cool though. It's kind of the best of both worlds, because we're getting the residual income. So it's a little bit like a membership, a 3-month membership that we're selling, but so it's an easier sale to make, but it's not like an ongoing membership to where it actually gets to be harder to make that sale. So it's kind of we get the residual income that'll help soften out some of the ups and downs, but we're also, not selling this ongoing membership product right now. So
it'd be cool now that you're saying that, is with all of these sales, we should put a one-time offer in for after the 3 payments, or to have membership to the Facebook site directly to the group. That we could $10 a month, and then So after your 3 payments of $99, and then then here's a one-time offer to have upgraded access to
Yeah.
or something like that, like or some kind of continuing. I guess it'd probably be the Facebook group. I mean, but that could be interesting because we could extend the revenue on that for a lot longer.
Yep.
Yeah, I think eventually we're going to have to figure out. I mean, I think the Patreon experiment has basically, I mean, it's still generating money, but I think it's kind of died because we're not getting signups. I mean, we're getting very few signups. So I think that's just not going to work.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I was hoping to get like 1 sign up a day, from YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's not converting over. We could do pushes every once in a while and try and do it, but I think, I don't know. I think we do want to continue. It shows that a continuity product will work like a membership that we already knew, but I think going through Patreon to do it and making it.
Yeah, this particular incarnation of the membership idea is not flying. It doesn't. Yeah. It's not going to sell itself. Basically, we're going to have to build some kind of machine.
Yeah. So we'll have to figure out. It's a good experiment, though. I mean, we figured out a few interesting things from it. One of them definitely is that we kind of knew this already, but soft skills signed copy is a very, very popular thing.
Yes.
So, but yeah, Patreon's eventually dropping off. We're gonna have to figure out how to. If it hits a certain critical threshold, I think we just kill it. Or maybe we leave it, but we just don't promote it anymore. I've pretty much stopped promoting it in videos. We do have the video on the YouTube from the subscriber thing where when you're a subscriber, like, and you go to the channel, it has a Patreon pitch, but it's just not effective. So
that's interesting because I just set up Patreon for DevChat.tv, and I've been looking at setting it up for the shows. Yeah,
I mean,
I feel like it's
have it out there, but
I feel like it's one of those things where you can make it work, but it's probably going to have to be a major focus. I feel like we could make it work, but we'd almost have to. It's almost like you have to treat it like your main monetization strategy.
Yeah, I'd like to. So I don't know if I should say this publicly, but I'm going to anyway.
That's another possible tagline for our show. I shouldn't be saying this publicly, but I am.
So, well, I don't know if it affects things long term, and I don't know that I have any sponsors that listen to the show, but I would like to move more toward a model where it's listener supported or product supported and less sponsorship supported. And I'm not anywhere near there right now. So it's, I'm not going to be like telling sponsors to go away, and I'm not, I'm going to be treating them well. But at the same time, so Patreon is kind of attractive that way. But I don't know. I know some podcasters, they make a full-time income for 2 or 3 people off of Patreon. Mm-hmm. And, and then other people, it just doesn't seem to work. And so I don't know.
I just set it up not as I'm going to replace this, but kind of like what Josh and John did, where set it up and
stepped away during the part where we were talking about killing it.
Really?
Yes, I heard you. Yeah.
Okay, I stepped away during that part.
Yeah.
But I think what you guys did is kind of along the lines of what Chuck might want to do, where set it up and tell people about it, and then set a goal in there. If you make X amount a month, you'll reduce this part of the sponsorship or that part of the sponsorship or the number of sponsors or
I thought about doing that, but
I don't think people care enough about that, honestly.
I don't either.
I think the thing that sold it for us was our Facebook group and like the ongoing access to John that we offered. And basically all of it came from our email list as well. Like 95% of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I could add that to the template for the emails that go out with the episodes if you like getting the shows. Support us on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've also thought about that, Derek, where it would be like, hey, if you raise enough money on Patreon, then I'll actually remove a sponsorship spot. But I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings on that, just from the standpoint of, I think it'll motivate some people because some people just don't like the ads. But yeah, I'm also with Josh. I don't know if enough people care for it to really make a difference.
Well, and the thing is that there's a lot of people that don't like ads, but then also they just tend to be people that don't really do anything anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like the people that are going to sit there and like complain about the ads in your show are probably also, among the lowest value overall. If like when it comes to actually, buying anything that you create, or they're probably not your core customers anyway. You want the people. You want to offer something that's the people that really like you are going to get excited about, and
you want the Disney.
Yeah. Right. So you're talking about this, and I had a conversation, same dinner, Richard and Carl, and I was like, so how do you guys do sponsorships? And I guess for their shows, they have a giveaway that they do every time. And that's their highest billed sponsorship spot. And then they also have like a spot at 20 minutes, and then they have like a bumper at the very beginning.
Oh, interesting. Wait, so tell me more about the giveaway. Remind me, is that like
$5,000?
Is it money?
No, they asked the guests what would they spend $5,000 on.
Oh, really? Because usually he said that they're usually sponsored. So
yeah, but before they ask that question, people are interested in that. That's why it's
So the sponsor basically says, you can give away a 1-year subscription to whatever, or a license to this tool, or
it's
whatever.
It's a one shot.
Yeah. And I like the way they do it, because you have to be a member of the .NET Rocks fan club. And the way you get into there is you actually fill out the survey and give them your demographic information, so they can actually send that to the sponsors. And then, so the sponsors know who they're reaching. And then they give it away on the show.
That's pretty slick.
And so I'm really digging that. So I'm thinking about changing my sponsorship structure again. But yeah.
I mean, I think you want to do both, right? So do the Disney approach, right? You want to have fan support. You want to double dip here, right? Like you go to Disney World, right? And you're like, holy crap, $120 for a ticket. Are you smoking crack? Right? And then, before you get there, right, you go and you park, and you're like, are you serious? I have to park $20 to park my car? You're like, okay, fine. I guess I got to park to go to your theme park. And then you get in there, and it's like $120 for the ticket. And you're like, okay. And then they're going to upsell you for 3 days. And you're like, okay. And then you get in there, and it's like, oh, look, popcorn. Oh, look, $8. Okay. And then you go to a ride, and it's like, whatever, I forget, different. This ride is sponsored by Chevrolet. And you're like, what? Yeah. I paid for a ticket, and you somehow, like, this company is sponsoring this.
And then there's FastPass. So you don't want to wait in line for an hour and a half? Well, here's FastPass for another $55.
Well, they don't sell the FastPass on that.
No, they don't.
Six Flags does that, but my point is, like, Disney basically has sponsored. They have corporations sponsor the rides, but the customer's already paying to ride the ride too. So they're kind of, I'm not the biggest fan of how much Disney does it and how much they mark it up, but it's a good strategy in the fact that you can still have advertisers and you can still be customer supported too at the same time. I wouldn't knock the advertising out. But you might as well say, hey, if you want to give me something, here you go.
Yeah, I'm still trying to play with it, because like Hire.com sponsors most of the shows, all the shows actually, and like I don't know what they'd give away, because they can't really give away a job.
Give away a job. That'd be cool. Let's do it.
I love it.
But Front End Master sponsors JavaScript Jabber, and they could do that. They could give away a subscription for a year or 6 months or something. And a lot of these other companies, I think that would work out well too, because then the opportunity is for me to go live on the show and say, yeah, our giveaway this month is this product, and here's why you want it, and here's the person who won it.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't create too much extra effort for you, that is not that the compensation increase is worth that extra effort. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, is it going to take an hour of your time? Okay, well, there's $1,000 added on to the sponsorship.
Yeah, I don't think it'd take that much time because, essentially, if it's a product I already know about, I can just, I can talk about it. And if it's a product I don't, then, I'm like, I can email them, and every sponsor I've talked to so far can give me a set of talking points, and then I can pick the ones that I think really apply to the audience.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if that would also open up other possibilities for like JetBrains to sponsor and give away a, WebStorm or RubyMine or something, or, talk to some of these other companies and say, yeah, we'll give away a license to your product and, see how it goes. Because there are a lot of companies out there that have products that would, benefit the audiences that I reach. And, and then I could say, yeah, and if you didn't win, you can go buy it here. I do want to do the fan club, though, and I want to make it worth it to them. I also realize I can give away, like, once I finish this book, I can give away copies of that every week.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So I think there are some possibilities here. I just need to figure out.
At this point, I'm imagining your podcasts turning into Palm Wonderful Presents the Greatest Movie Ever Sold. If you haven't seen that movie yet, it's a Morgan Spurlock who's a he does this.
Didn't he do Super Size Me?
Yeah, Super Size Me, and the next 30 Days TV series. It's a great movie. The whole movie is about him selling sponsorships to produce this movie.
Uh-huh.
Like literally, it is a self-referential movie. The whole point of the movie is to sell sponsorships to produce the movie.
Nice.
It's a really good movie. It's more of a documentary than movie, but it's a really good look at product placements and sponsorships and advertising in movies specifically. But I think there's a lot of parallels in what he talks about and what he does in there to what we're talking about and what we do on a regular basis. I mean, just talking about products and services that we like and deciding whether or not we actually want to mention the name of something because we don't want to send business to that company, or we do want to send business to that company, or whatever the case is. It's an interesting dynamic where in that documentary they talk about the cost of production and how it's basically necessary to get sponsorships because of the rising cost of things, and how you have to find the right balance, and it's easy to take it too far. And I mean, the movie, the documentary is called Palm Wonderful Presents the Greatest Movie Ever Sold. I mean, the title of the movie is sponsored. It's
nice,
right? Yeah, so, I think I may just stick with what I've got for another 3 months and get it clicking along, and then I may try and add on the giveaway as a bonus to sponsors and kind of work that way.
It kind of seems like you have enough going on with the rest of your business that you don't need to add this onto it right now. But it's something that would be good to put in your back pocket and hang on to for when you get to the point where you have the time and the resources and things are organized enough.
Yeah. But we kind of got here through talking about Patreon, and
right.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'll have to go look at how you guys have things set up. But for right now, basically the pages that I've set up, I set one up for JavaScript Jabber and one for DevChat, and it just basically states this is what we're here for, and this is what we're about, and this is what we're trying to accomplish. And if you want to help us get there, then give us money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, I've got an update on some automation stuff, guys, that actually worked. So
okay.
I got a Ring doorbell. Speaking of sponsorships, right?
I have one of those. I love mine.
It's awesome.
What is it?
Just a Ring doorbell. It's a video doorbell.
Okay.
And so just this morning, like some guy, FedEx guy, was like, I'm out of town, and he was delivering something that had to be signed for, right? Some documents, and he rang the doorbell, and I answered on my phone, and I was like, hey, and he's like, and I said, does this need to be signed for? And he's like, yeah, but you can authorize it here if you want. So I was like, oh, well, put it in the, we've got like a storage place, or my neighbor could, would pick it up, put it in the garage and stuff. And so in combination, actually, so, he left it and then my neighbor emailed me. It's like, oh, would you like me to put that in your garage? And so this comes to part 2 of the automation. So I bought 2 Schlage. Is it Schlage? I don't know.
Schlage.
Schlage. Oh, it's Schlage?
Yeah.
I like Schlage.
Schlage, yes, but it's Schlage.
Okay, fine. Schlage. Schlage doesn't sound as Schlage. It still sounds German, I guess.
Dude, you're such a slag.
Anyway, I got the Schlage Sense locks, and I put one on my front door and one on my garage. My garage is like a detached garage. And so the nice thing about those locks is I tried the whatchamacallit one, Autumn. I don't like that. The Schlage one, it replaces the entire deadbolt, right? But it is it's got a keypad access. You can use your phone through Bluetooth. It's HomeKit, Apple HomeKit enabled, and you can use a regular key as well. And so it's about $200. I mean, it's expensive, but totally worth it. I just when we left, I needed to get my neighbor to like move the packages in and to take out the trash, and so I could just create a temporary access code for him that works on certain days or certain times, and I can delete that if I need to later. And now I don't need keys for anything, right? So nice. I can just walk outside my house and go for a run or something, and I don't need to bring keys. So I got rid of pretty much all my keys except for my car key. It is pretty fantastic.
You need to be careful with that kind of stuff, though, because there's been a string of burglaries recently with cars where people would take literally $5 worth of equipment, worth of electronics equipment, and a Pringles can, point the Pringles can at the person's house and be standing right next to the car. And as they're pointing the can at the house, they find where the signal from their key fob is. And the Pringles can would amplify the signal through the piece of electronics they have. It would unlock the car, they'd get in, hit start, and drive away.
Yeah, that's what I've got insurance for. But
yeah, the locks, they had those at CES last year, and they were showing them off. They were pretty cool. And yeah, the fact that you can create temporary access codes.
The fact that you can use a physical key, that's important.
Yes.
There's a lot of locks on the market that have nothing but the Bluetooth. And if the battery in it dies, if the power goes out, you're screwed. You can't get into your house.
Mm-hmm. Right? Well, so here's my strategy for that. So I've got the 2 locks, right? And this is why these are good. These are battery operated with regular AA batteries. So, I mean, you got to change it every once in a while. But it's got the Bluetooth, which doesn't work quite so well. The keypad is
Bluetooth.
You can use Siri, but that'll improve over time. But the keypad is good enough. I mean, that is like just valuable. But what I'm doing is I'm taking my house key and I'm putting it in my garage, and my garage key and putting it in my house. And so I've sort of protected myself there. Like the chances of both batteries dying at the same time, not very high. You know what I mean? Especially since I bought them, separated apart. So I'll be able to get access to my key. I mean, I might even just if I really wanted to protect myself, I could open up a P.O. box at the post office and drop a key in there. So.
Yeah. One other thing that some of them do is that you can actually, over the internet, you can access them. So you can tell them to open or close. So, like if my father-in-law came into town and my family was out of town, or we were all at the store and he rang the doorbell, it'd be like, hang on. And then we just open the other app and, unlock the door.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do that with the HomeKit integration. The HomeKit integration kind of sucks. I had to buy a new Apple TV to get that to work. And it's still, not the best, but eventually it'll come along.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy with. I mean, just the value add of buying the keyless entry locks for your front door, and even just having the punch code ability is well worth the money, in my opinion, because it's just. I mean, it's so nice. I can't even tell. Like, I basically now don't need keys. I hung up my car keys in my garage. Because I don't need a keychain, literally. Like, if I need the car, I need it where I need the keys where the car is. So I can literally just walk out of my house, go for a run, whatever. Don't have to grab the keys. That's it was well worth the investment for me. And then having the Ring, that combined, I finally, I don't have very many complaints. Like it was an upgrade that was easily worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the Ring. I mean, we were in Oklahoma, and I basically pulled my phone out, answered the door, told the solar salesman to bug off, and and just went on with my day. It was nice.
Yeah.
Did you say solar salesman?
Yeah, selling solar energy, solar panels.
That's great. Door to door.
Oh, they come through our neighborhood about twice a week.
Nice.
And for that Ring
I think
doorbell,
they've tapped it out by now.
for that Ring doorbell, is there a version like something on the inside of the house where you don't have to have a phone, but you can actually just go to the door and talk to the person?
What do you mean?
Like see a video, like with like if I'm interested in this thing because we literally can't see out our door at all. It's not possible. And so I never know who is standing on the porch, and that drives me nuts. And it's been a problem a few times for various reasons.
Biker games.
You can get a key, a peephole installed.
No, I can't. I have a frosted glass door with wrought iron in it.
I think they still can do some kind of. I don't know.
An ice pick, Derek. That'll take care of it.
I need a hammer.
All right, Ring doorbell. Ring doorbell, $100. iPad Touch, old generation, whatever, $100.
Yeah.
Mount the iPad Touch to the door.
Does this thing have that included? I mean, is there?
You have to have a phone, a smartphone.
It requires the phone.
To run the app.
Yeah, but just get like I said, iPad Touch, mount it on your wall or door, and now you've got that capability if you want.
Yeah.
Except now you have to charge your door.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Well, the Ring doorbell hooks into
a USB cable running to your door.
No, the Ring doorbell runs off of the power that goes to your doorbell anyway.
Or yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying the iPod or the iPad.
Yeah,
the USB charger.
But in our case, we have a wall. So we have the doorway is set into the house. So the entry to the door from the outside is set in, and there's a wall on both sides. And the wall, when you're looking at our door from the left, from outside, there's a brick wall on your left, and that is in our dining room. And we already have a stand right there, and there's a power outlet right there.
Yeah.
And we put our mail and stuff on that stand, so I could easily just have, an iPod Touch or something sitting right there, always plugged in.
Yep.
And connected to it. That would work.
Yep. The whole physical world, like the whole home automation business needs to wake up to the fact that we still need like the physical part of the product. We need you to not replace the entire product with a smartphone. Like that is not a sufficient user interface. That was one of the big problems with the lights that I had down in my basement here, was that I had to pay a lot of extra money to get and set up the light switch so that I could turn the lights off and on from a standard light, and not have to pull out my iPhone every time.
I've heard horror stories about Airbnb people. They would show up at somebody's house and literally none of the light switches work. And so they would call the person that owns the place. like, hey, none of the light switches work. Oh yeah, I replaced everything with this home automation system. You need to go download this app and sign up for an account over here.
Oh gosh.
And, do all this, like an hour worth of work so that you could turn on the lights when you walk into my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they do make
switches
that you like, physical switches that you could get that are like touch sensitive for that system, but it's like a lot of hassle to install that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a deal on Airbnb for CES, and I'm paying for like 4 nights what it costs for 1 night on the Strip during CES, because those room prices go way up because they know that they're going to sell them all.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love Airbnb. What were you going to say, John? Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying it's kind of an experiment right now. It's like there's so much stuff in the field; it'll all consolidate, and eventually we'll have this. Like we're on the verge of it. Like it's like it's almost like with LED light bulbs now, except that that guy is getting jumped by the. But it's like you could just buy LED light bulbs now. But for a while, it was like this whole weird thing, and now it's like a standard thing. And same thing will happen with the home automation.
13 minutes, 50 seconds.
What is that?
Distance, 10 miles.
I think you have a missile incoming, Chuck.
3 seconds, a mile. Split pace, 1 minute, 23 seconds.
Sorry, I'm all mute. It won't shut up.
Who's running? But
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, eventually we'll just have everything will be built in with the brains in it, and there'll be multiple ways to.
There was a great cartoon I saw about it was something along the lines of, "Oh man, the Wi-Fi's down again. Cat can't get out." It's like,
yep.
That's where we are right now. Is like
Exactly.
we're just creating more problems. We have to.
Well, I always say technology makes our lives easier by making them more difficult. So
Yes, I have seen legitimate reports recently about cars with the Microsoft whatever it is built into the dashboard for like Bluetooth.
Okay.
To play music and stuff with built-in Bluetooth. I have seen legitimate reports of the workaround for the Bluetooth connection, failing, not working anymore. Like in the middle of driving, it will just die and stop playing music. The solution to this is to pull over, turn your car off, open the door for 30 seconds, turn the car back on, close your door.
You gotta, it's Control-Alt-Delete for your car.
Exactly.
Jiggle the handle.
All of those jokes in the 1990s about if Microsoft built cars are true.
Oh my god.
Sir, I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to step out of the vehicle slowly. I can't. It won't unlock. It needs to reboot. Sir,
I have to reboot my car.
I'm gonna have no choice but to fire on you.
Exactly. It's.
Oh god. Well, I forget what I was gonna say. Yeah. Oh yeah. So in Pittsburgh here, we are a hub for. So because of CMU, Carnegie Mellon, we're a hub for the automation industry, and we have driverless Ubers running around the city.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one on the highway. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready to climb into one.
No. We don't have driverless Ubers yet around here, but down in Austin, they do have driverless cars from, I can't remember the company doing it, but there's a children's museum that my kids love down there that we have a membership to. And invariably, when we go down there to that children's museum, it's in a really affluent, recently rebuilt neighborhood with all kinds of expensive stuff. And invariably, when we go down there, we see this self-driving car driving around, and there's usually 1 or 2 people in it, and they're always looking around like they're paranoid about this thing running into something.
Okay, kids, stand behind Dad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Here comes the driverless. Oh my Lord!
Yeah, I haven't seen any reports yet of any problems with the Ubers, but it's only a matter of time. Pittsburgh, Larry, when Trackabout's first DevCon was here in Pittsburgh in like January, and all of the entire brain trust of Trackabout was like in this one little car struggling up an icy hill, and Larry was like, "We are never doing this again." I think probably Pittsburgh is. I don't know if it's quite on the level of San Francisco in terms of like how hilly it is, but we have, like you see in the movies, you see those hills. Mm-hmm. We've got lots of streets like that here, so it's insane.
It's funny though, because like, you know, with this whole stuff, like, yeah, a lot of this junk doesn't work right now and doesn't work right and stuff, but there's so many people that are like, oh, so against it, and I just don't understand that stance, because it's like, yes, the infant technologies are, you know, they are infant, but this is the way forward. We're not going backwards. We're not like, you know what I mean? Like, we're going forwards. Like, you know, it's the same thing with the privacy concerns. And it's like, cameras are getting smaller, batteries are getting smaller. Not, you know, it's not very long before we have, you know, X-ray vision. Like, it's like, I don't know, you know, I'm being, you know, crazy, but you know what I'm saying? Like we're not going backwards. So it's like, stop trying to, we just got to like figure out how we're going to make this work, not how we're going to like, how things were better before this newfangled stuff happened. It's like the future, the reality of the future is cars will be self-driving. Sorry, you know, eliminate jobs. Yes, yeah. Those jobs aren't coming back. They're not. But we got to figure out a way forward, not a way backward, right? It's same thing with, you know, privacy, with all this, with the home automation.
Just don't take my wired earbuds away, man.
With wired earbuds, the other thing is, like, seriously, how long is that technology not going to exist? It's just not going to exist.
Sitting there with the wired earbuds.
Well, yeah, but it's not going to exist in 10 years. It's not. Yeah. It's not. It doesn't make sense, you know. So, yeah, but
yeah, you'll just pair it with your eardrums.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my god!
I mean, hell.
Yes, I definitely want my eardrums cutting out.
We're not very far away.
When I put my phone in my pocket, I totally want my eardrums cutting out.
Yeah, I mean, they've got experimental contact lenses that have integrated circuits built in that you can basically like that can display something on the contact lens. Like, we're, you know, these things, like, there's going to be huge leaps. Like, it's even difficult to, you know, predict where the technology is going to go, but it's good. I know it's going forward, not backward. That's the thing. It's like holding on to the hope that it's going to go back or that this is not going to work is kind of a ridiculous notion.
Hang on, somebody hacked my contacts and is playing a porno on there. I can just see it going so wrong, right?
I know. Yeah.
But in other news, I did interview Eli, the computer guy, this week, so that was cool. So that's huge. He's got like 700,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Nice.
I finally got to see Captain America: Civil War. John made me think of that because of the Spider-Man showing up in the Avengers movie.
Spoiler alert! Jeez.
Well, oh gosh,
he's in the ads.
Yeah, if you don't know that, yeah. But
no, I watched it last week.
I have not seen the ads nor the movie.
I've seen. So I think I think it was the best of the Avengers movies, which I've enjoyed all of them. But this was just, yeah, it was. I think my favorites are still the original first two Iron Man movies, but this was pretty spectacular. I really enjoyed it.
I generally agree. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was pretty good.
The Spider-Man sequences were amazing.
Yes, they were awesome.
He was like, because he was actually like, he was a legitimate like high schooler.
Yep.
Like he was, you know, I don't know, supposed to be 17, and he actually looked like he was 17, and he had homework, you know, but he was so. What was funny about it was that they made him he was so starstruck because he's like fighting all the Avengers, all these people. It's like, you know, they're like his heroes,
right?
And he's like fighting with them, and he's like complimenting them as he's fighting them. He's like, "Oh, that was really cool," you know, and then he punches them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Awesome. Whoever that kid is, he did a phenomenal job with that part. I was disappointed that Andrew Garfield was not Spider-Man in this movie, but that kid did a really good job with it.
I wonder what it cost Marvel to get him, because I think Sony still owns the movie rights.
Really? I don't know.
I think last time I looked, they had they had sold perpetual rights. I think it was to Sony, and as long as Sony continued to produce Spider-Man movies, they retained the rights. Which is why we had Tobey Maguire, and some other dude.
I wonder if there's like a loophole, since this was not a Spider-Man movie, but he was just a character.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure it did cost him a lot of money, because like with Deadpool, the movie Deadpool, they basically had to get B-list, background characters to make appearances as the X-Men, because the studio couldn't afford to pay for the top-rated X-Men characters or actors.
Right.
And that was somebody Marvel Studios still. Yeah, it's weird how Marvel has split the ownership and rights. Like, you'll never see the Avengers and X-Men on screen together, because the rights to both of those are two wholly separate divisions of Marvel that have their own independent operating and sold the rights to different studios and all this craziness.
Well, I don't think they ever envisioned that they would have movie franchises that would be worth that much.
Yeah.
So, and then they were just getting their cut, and they were okay with that, and then they figured out, oh, hey, we can make all these movies and make a ton of money. And now it's like, oh, yeah.
Better, and
Yeah, now they wish they had those rights back.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I got a business recommendation for you guys. I almost spaced this one. I just signed up for Paychex. So, I don't know if are you guys doing payroll for filing your S Corps and doing payroll?
Mm-mm.
No.
So it seems pretty good. Like, whatchamacallit, QuickBooks Online has a payroll option, but you have to do the stuff manually. And I think it's fairly cheap for the QuickBooks one. But the Paychex, my accountant was, had set me up with Paychex person, and I talked to him, and I thought I was going to get this heavy sales pitch on like some extreme. People said Paychex is way more expensive, and I ended up getting, like, what they do is they do everything for you. Like, you basically just like call them up and say, I want to start doing payroll, and they file all the forms. You just sign over like power of attorney, and like they just basically do it all, and they file all the quarterly, the 941s for you, unemployment, everything, right, for your state. Make sure you're all legit and do the direct deposit and all of that stuff. And it's like $69 a month. Well worth it. Like, this is
who did Trackabout use for all their payroll?
Paychex.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to say, it sounds really familiar, and I remember hating it.
Well, we hated. No. You left before the real goodness started. we had to start tracking our time in NetSuite.
I've had to use NetSuite before, and that is a nightmare.
NetSuite was the most like, there are applications that are not user friendly. NetSuite was actively user hostile. They deliberately designed that UI to make it so that you could not complete your week. Like, it was supposed to be completing my weekly time card. Like, I was used to Harvest, right? Harvest is very nice, and it's just it's an excellent UI. And then I went into Paychex, and into NetSuite, and it was like, oh my gosh, it was like they were deviously like sitting there thinking about how to punish you if you didn't do everything in exactly the right order. It would like, everything would get effed up. It was unbelievable. Like, and it was to the point where like you'd be going through the timesheet, and like fields would move. Remember the old Punch the Monkey game? Like the Flash game where the monkey would run across. That's what the fields would shift on the screen. You're like trying to click them, and they're like, jumping around, and like the code.
I can say I do that.
You'd have this list.
I need to get them on JavaScript Jabber. How do you make it impossible to use?
Yeah, it was, and so it was funny because like about every 3 weeks they'd pop up like would you recommend NetSuite to a friend? And I would just lay into them. I'd be like, this is the absolute worst application I have ever used in my entire life. Are you deliberately trying to like make our lives miserable? And
we're using a system with my one client called ServiceNow, and it is not that hostile, but just about close, as close to as hostile as that, to the point where there is no actual workflow in ServiceNow. It is literally dozens of fields on the screen, and to create workflow between people, you fill out the fields that you're supposed to fill out and then assign the ticket to the next person.
Nice.
Oh, man.
There is no actual workflow. It's just fields. And you put in the ones that you're supposed to put in. It is the most, it is nightmarish. The whole reason this suite was chosen is because it produces the reports that upper management wants to see. But in order to produce the reports that upper management wants to see, you basically have CRUD screens on top of these ridiculously awful nth level normalized data structures where the developers pretty much didn't want to design an application that was not easy to use. They wanted to design an application that could be configured to do anything and everything. It's awful.
I do not think I managed to successfully file an expense report in the entire time that we were using NetSuite. Like 2 years. I did it multiple times, and every time there was some mistake. And like I think Michelle, our admin, like thought I was, like deliberately being difficult, but I just legitimately could not successfully do it.
Yeah. When I worked for Telerik, we used a system called Concur, and the website was comically difficult to use, but they had a brilliant mobile app. I don't know, they must have outsourced it to another development company or something, because everything on the mobile app was like, oh, that was ridiculously easy, I'm done. And then you go try to do anything on the website, and it's like, what? How am I? No, I can't even access the thing that I'm supposed to do. So yeah, it's none of these systems are good. That's for sure.
I think we need to put all the time tracking people on a boat with all the shopping cart people.
Yes.
And push it out to sea and light it on fire.
Definitely. There was a company down.
2 attorneys in there.
There was a company around here. One of my friends was doing some contracting for, and they needed help beyond what he was supposed to be providing. So they brought me in to subcontract for a little bit. And I was literally replacing a time tracking system that they had from some third-party vendor. It would take an average of 20 seconds to fill in a single field in the time tracking app. You would type it in, and you would have to wait while they made dozens of requests to the server, and it recalculated everything, and it tried to update all these fields in order to show the totals and whether or not you had too many hours for a given day or given week or anything like that. So me and my friend, we spent a week in their office reproducing the general layouts that their system had, but doing it all in front-end JavaScript and Backbone. And after a week, we had the complete the complete user experience for opening a timesheet for a given week, filling in all your time, seeing the totals, and hitting submit. And then we stubbed the back-end APIs to do the actual work on the server, and he was going to go fill in those after I was done helping him build the core of the front end. And after that 1 week and rebuilding the core of that UI for time tracking, we had it fast enough to where you could not physically type faster than the screens were, than the fields were updating. Like to the point where the client legitimately thought that it was not working because it was happening too fast. There must be something wrong with it. It's insane.
Just add thread.sleep and
yeah, exactly. It's insane how bad some software systems are and how people expect software to be so janky and horrible and terrible because that's what they've always known. And when you give them an actual piece of software, they complain that it works correctly and is easy to use. All right, I think we're about done for the week. Looks like Chuck has to get going here.
I don't have any time crunch. I'm just.
Oh, okay. I misread your commentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, anybody got thoughts for the week? Actually do have a thought for the week. Somebody else go first, though. I need to look this up.
I can go first. So I'm in Atlanta. I've been here all week. Monday. I think I need to clear something up that I said at the beginning of the show when I said it was a waste of time. I didn't need to be here a week to get 4 interviews. That's why it was a waste of time.
Right.
But the interviews were terrific, and I don't want that to reflect on our guests. Anyway, one thing that was nice about having it be a week-long kind of deal was that I got some downtime. So I flew out here on Sunday, and then I got to spend the evening with my cousins and their kids and my aunt and uncle. And then Monday and Tuesday, like after we recorded, I wound up coming back to the hotel a little bit early and just relaxing, watching a show, ordering room service. And I had been so burned out and tired just from a lot of other things that I had been dealing with. And so just getting some downtime, like some real downtime where I wasn't trying to get anything done. I wasn't trying to accomplish anything. I was tired, so I had a nap. I slept in this morning because today's the last day of the conference, but there aren't really any sessions today I want to go see. And I don't really want to go all the way into downtown Atlanta. I'm staying in Marietta. So yeah, just if you need it, just find a way to get some downtime. Even if you're getting the motel that's in the same town you live in, or, getting away an hour or an hour and a half away and just figuring stuff out. I'm at a place now where for the rest of the day I'm going to be working on a few things for the business, and I'm going to be thinking a lot about the direction on some things that we've discussed during the show and some other things that I'm just trying to figure out. And I don't think I could have gotten to that place unless I had taken the time to just relax. So ultimately, I just want to tell people, look, you can't do it all, and sometimes you have to just take a minute, sit back, relax, watch some shows on Netflix, and
Netflix and chill.
Yeah. Order that lava cake from room service, and just yeah. But yeah, and then things feel better and look better, and you're more rested, and you can make better decisions and have more perspective on things.
So I think mine will be understanding how you do things is very valuable. So there's a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I find that to be really true for myself. And so for the latest thing that's got me thinking about this is I've struggled my whole life with exercise, and so I've finally figured out some things lately about how I tend to approach problems and what I like, what the way that I operate and how I have accomplished everything in my life. And I'm very, I tend to be pretty analytical. I need a lot of kind of depth to a problem for it to hold my interest. And so I found a fitness program, this gymnastics program that I'm on, where it's like super detailed, and there's a lot of meat there to dig into, and it's not just like mindlessly banging out reps every couple of days. And I am just absolutely loving it. And I've actually figured out how to tweak my schedule so that I'm working out in the morning, which used to be like, that used to ruin my whole day. But now I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm actually feeling good. Like, I feel like my body's improving and I'm feeling better. I'm feeling more energetic from it. So, and that works for me, and it works. And then there's like this, also there's this support community around it. I know that for me to stay interested and engaged in something, I need to have a lot of like input and stuff to read and kind of keep my mind on it. And this forum is like one of the best run communities that I've ever seen. And so I've got this constant stream of new ideas that are related to this area that I'm trying to improve. And, just realizing that that's how I think about things, and that's how, when I really want to accomplish a goal, plugging into something like that is how I do it. And so now when I've got other areas in my life that I want to improve, and I'm looking for ways to take that same model and plug that into those areas as well. So understanding yourself and how you learn and how you stay motivated, it will apply across more than one area.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Yeah, because if you find that success in one area, then you can apply that.
Pick the area of your life that you're most successful in, and reverse engineer what it is that you did, or how you tackled it, and then try that on other stuff. And I bet you, in a lot of cases, that works when other things have failed.
Yep,
I could definitely do some of that. So for my thought for the week, there is a succinct version of this, but I want to start by reading a tweet storm from Chuck Wendig. He's an author. I've read a couple of his Star Wars books recently and really like what he writes and what he had to say this morning. He's talking about self-judgment and the creative process and the doubts that leak into your mind in the middle of all this, which is a big part of the problem that I've been dealing with in the last 6 months. And in the middle of this tweet storm, which you can find some of this on my Twitter, when I starred and tweeted some of it, in the middle of this, he starts to say, and by the way, I'm going to read his tweets, and there will be profanity in this. So if your sensitive ears can't take it, go somewhere else. So he says, recognize that you are the worst judge. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Sorry.
He says, recognize that you are the worst judge of your own work. So stop judging the work in the middle. Run forward. Just run. Don't stop. Making stuff is about momentum. Don't undercut your momentum, which means you have to first undercut the doubt. Undercutting doubt is about saying to yourself, this is the time to make stuff, not the time to fix stuff. The fix comes later. Undercutting doubt is saying, I don't trust my higher mind, the intellectual part. I trust my lower, messier mind. I trust my instincts. Trust the mess. Find truth in pigeon guts. It's all made up stuff. This is not math. It's a kind of crass, gutter, monster magic. Undercutting doubt is being the monster, not the monster hunter. Say fuck it and eat the villagers, greedily and giddily. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Sure, the monster hunter will eventually come for you, but now is the time to rampage. The hardest, most vital part of all of this, you have to defeat your own brain in the Thunderdome that is your skull. Some say that overcoming self-doubt is about trusting yourself, but I'd argue it's easier just to not care about your own judgment. The best attitude for this is, I'm not sure about any of this, but I don't care. I'm doing this shit anyways. Let's see what happens. Woo! Then you go and make the thing by stepping over the bound and gagged, wriggling body of your own self-doubt. Because eat shit, doubt. Otherwise, the reverse will happen. Your self-doubt will have you bound and gagged in the trunk of its Buick. You got to say, I'm going to do this now, and no matter what. I'll fix it later, or I'll do something new. Give fewer fucks, but don't give zero fucks. You need some fucks in your fuck tank to fuel your fuck fest, but too many fucks will kill the fucking engine.
Oh man,
my ears are offended.
Yeah, my ears are terribly offended.
So I tried to plug my ears, but there's some in them.
the summary of this, and my favorite tweet in this, is undercutting doubt is being the monster, not the monster hunter. Say fuck it and eat the villagers greedily, giddily, chomp, chomp, chomp. That is absolutely my favorite tweet in this tweet storm. But the whole thing is really a summary of the problems that I've been dealing with in the last 6 months, and it's helping me put in a good perspective on the self-doubt that I'm constantly facing with everything that I'm doing. And this particular tweet, eat the villagers greedily and giddily, that really resonates with me and my personality and my attitude toward these things, to just say, fuck you, I'm doing it anyways. And sometimes that's what I need to do, like with this whole pricing experiment that I did on Wednesday. Like literally every person that I've told about the pricing experiment that I'm doing has said, no, it's horrible, you're doing this and that, and this is bad for these reasons. And just like, I'm doing it. Fuck you, I'm doing it.
Totally agree.
You said tweet storm from Chuck somebody, and my heart just about stopped. What the heck did I do now?
Not Chuck Maxwood, no, sorry. Chuck Wendig. His name, Chuck Wendig, Wendig. Chuck Wendig at Twitter. And
That's awesome.
it's a great tweet storm.
It's terrific.
It's
I totally
really
agree.
Good stuff.
I did a video a couple of weeks ago, like, called like "Don't Take Any Feedback."
Yeah.
And I basically was talking about, it's very similar concept, like just do it, just do what you think is right. Like, I mean, you hear stuff, but you can't let that necessarily influence you. Like ultimately, like even if it's not the most successful thing, you got to do the thing that's going to make you happy. That's going to be like, so just fucking do it. So.
I really want to make that video and put it on YouTube, but I think it's still a little too soon.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, and the crap is always going to be a mess too, right? I like that.
It's so true. So true.
Our little analytical minds want everything, all our ducks in a row, and all of our
and he talks about all of that in the first half of his tweet storm. I skipped the first half, but he goes into that, how we want everything nice and neat and orderly, but it's going to be a mess, and you have to be okay with that.
Yeah. That's one of the things I struggle with a lot. It's like I want, I mean, I'm sure Josh even more so because he's more detail oriented than I am. But just want all the analytics and want it perfectly and all this, all these funnels working perfectly. And it's like, no, you just need to create more shit and just move forward and push on and like get it, stop at 80% and then move forward, because you got to make stuff, not report about stuff. But I mean, there's a balance, right? It's not like you got to have some kind of insight into your business, but it's really easy to get hung up on all that stuff, like polishing all the doorknobs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mine. Let's see. So mine, I think, I just lost what I was gonna talk about. What was my?
It's the air up in Northern California. You just can't keep it in your head.
I was gonna say. One thought was that it's not going to. Oh, you know what it is? It's that you'll eventually. There's a lot of the chaos that you have at any given time is stuff that'll eventually get nailed down, and you like there's trouble and there's trouble that you pass through, and like this has like definitely been on my mind because just the transition to California. Trying to get the business entity set up and the taxes and the accounting for California and the payroll and and even the deal like with that I have with Josh, like trying to get that figured out from a legal perspective with the accounting and stuff like that. Like all this stuff is like just like driving me nuts. Like it's giving me ulcers and headaches and stuff. And even with us switching the shopping cart and like now crap's not working and like, but we're eventually going to get all of these things nailed down and then we won't have to deal with them again. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes you can get in this situation where you've got all this stuff and you feel like it's always going to be chaos and it's always because it's bothering you now, but it's like, no, you're eventually going to get this figured out and get it taken care of and I won't say you never have to deal with it again, but it's not the state of things. It's the state of things right now. There are some problems and things that are thorns in your side that stick with you, but a good percentage of your problems are things that once you get figured out and once you get it taken care of and pass through it, you're not going to deal with it again. And so much of your business is built on by taking these things and nailing them down, and then you climb up on top of that one and you nail down the next board, and you keep on doing that. And it's sometimes you can forget that like a whole bunch of the stuff you're doing now at one point was stuff that you were like, how the hell am I going to do this, or was stressing you out, and now it's just like standard operating procedure and it baked into what you do in your business. And so I think that's an important thing to realize, so that you don't get too stressed out. It's really easy to get caught up. Like I said, right now I'm just trying to figure out like all this, how am I going to handle this with the California accounting, all this stuff. And it's a big pain in the ass, but the truth of the matter is, 4 months from now, this will be dealt with, and it'll only have to be dealt with once, and that's it. And then, so it's not worth like getting extremely stressed out about. You just got to take and deal with the stuff that you need to, and realize that eventually that's it. So.
Yeah, and don't. Sometimes you have to stop trying to move forward. Like where I get really frustrated is when I'm already mentally past whatever it is, right, and it's dragging me back. Sometimes you just have to stop and nail the thing to the floor.
Yes. Yeah, you can't because you can't just pass over some of these things. It's like, okay, just stop, deal with the problem. Like, okay, don't. There's that story where the guy is like, have you ever heard that story? I can't remember where I got it from, but he's like, I'm going to totally butcher this, but he's got like carrying like a bag full of bricks, and he's got like this like thing on his head, and he's like, and he goes up to this villager and like, why are you carrying on that bag full of bricks? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I guess I don't need that. And then he drops that off, and then he goes to the next villager, and they're like, why you got this like thing on your head? It's like, I guess I don't need that. And pretty soon he's like able to walk totally free, and he was carrying around all this stuff that he didn't need. I don't, somewhere I got that story, but anyway. Yeah. You got to let go of it. You got to, cut yourself free.
Yep.
All right. Dumpster fire extinguished.
For this week.
All right. See you guys next time. All right.
Bye.
Okay.